Yeah. All right. Excited to be here, and I told them that I'd spend a little bit more time with you all in this particular situation, and then during the season I'll have to move a little quicker. But I appreciate everybody coming out, and we're looking forward to the season. It's around the corner, of course, and we're actually doing some stuff. We got to do all our life skill and all that stuff before we start on Friday. But we're excited about the season, just like you are. You never know what you got until you go to work, and so we're looking forward to getting out there. But our kids have worked very hard, and a lot of that has to do with who we're playing in the first game. So they've worked hard, and I know they're anxious. And I will tell you, the group that we took up to TC and then Mitch Leitner and Brian Body did a heck of a job up at the Big Ten meetings representing the state of Minnesota. And I had a great time with them. We really had a good time. So with that, I'll answer any questions that you have. So
the genesis of that TCU game, how did that occur to get on the schedule? And did you know?
That's Norwood.
Okay.
Well, it was, seriously, I mean, it's a deal where that's before I had anything to do with control of schedule, because when I got the job and so forth, I didn't have any control of it. And I basically, Coach Patterson, you can talk to him, he knew nothing about it. I knew nothing about it. All of a sudden he hears something, goes, hey, are we going to play each other? I go, no. He goes, well, I don't want to play. And I said, well, he said, I heard rumors. I go, there ain't no rumors. I said, we're not playing. And then all of a sudden I get a phone call that we're going to play the game. So I'm low man on the totem pole, so going to play the game. But it, you know what, is that we're all competitive people, and we played them last year, didn't play them very good. But at the same time, that might have been, this wake-up call that we better get going. And our schedule is very difficult. Everybody knows that, but our kids know that. Our coaches know that. We've got a good football team too. We got to get a few holes plugged, but we're looking forward to it.
Your team has improved every year. What is the one area you want this team to improve in this year, this program to get better in?
Well, I think we'll be better on defense. I think this will be our best defensive unit. I think if you talk to Coach Clays, he would tell you that. Is our kicking game is good right now. What it will come down to, in my opinion, we're going to be able to run the football. But our deal is we've got to do, our center and two guards have got to have some lead in their tail end. I don't know how you phrase that in the paper, but they've got to be physically strong, because we've had trouble in pass protection getting moved back in the quarterback's face. And when you get back and you get pressure up front in the quarterback's face, there's nobody going to be able to throw the ball. We've given up too much push, okay? Then the next thing is we lose Max Williams. You don't replace him by one guy. You replace him with a multiple group of guys. Our receivers have got to be able to go make some plays for the quarterback. There's nothing perfect. You watch the National Football League, the quarterbacks throw in double coverage, guy catches the ball. Boy, I tell you what, a great read that was. Well, it was a great read because they had a guy who could go up there and get the football. That's why it was a good read. So we need some guys to go get the football. And then Mitch has got to, be like this all the time. He's such a great competitor. He'll get up here and something goes wrong, he gets so frustrated, can't do it. And that's why Adam Weber's come in to help that matter. He went to Manning's camp, and that's helped him. He was a different kid when he came back from Manning's camp. He was down there with some of the best. He's down there with TCU's quarterback, and I think he performed well. That's the feedback that I've gotten. And so when life's about confidence, and David Cobb got confidence, and boom, there he went. So hopefully all the work he's put in will help our preparation towards them. And then all of them quarterbacks have worked hard. I mean, Chris Streveler has worked hard. He's probably the second fastest guy on our team. I mean, he can run. And so we feel good. Those guys have improved a bunch. Now we want to see it in camp. But again, the most important thing I want improved is I want those centers, two guards, to hold in there and not get any pushback, so he can have a pocket to throw it in. We've done a pretty good job. We handled the D-ends pretty good at Missouri. I mean, he got to us once. But the push back in, you got to be able to sit there and be able to throw it. I'm sure you've been to Vikings camp, you know, they don't want Teddy Bridgewater getting hit and certainly push up the middle. So we got to get stronger and physical in there. We moved Campion in there for a reason.
Do you think the continuity you've had at the O-line will help make that jump? Just the fact that you have the same guys coming back, that they can take that leap quicker?
Strength and physical size. That's why we moved Campion in there. He's 325 pounds. John Christensen, I mean, is 300. Getting him back's critical. Connor Mays, 320 pounds. Guys that can't get pushed back. You know, I want to be stronger, more physical up front. If we're going to throw the ball better, we all want to take it on to the quarterback's deal. We've got to protect him better and give him a chance to throw it. Put on the film. I mean, the Michigan game, he threw the one to Max, made a heck of a catch. He's on his back. You know, so it's a team effort when it comes to throwing the ball. We got to throw the ball better. We got to throw the ball better, and we threw it pretty good. If you told me we were going to throw for 240 yards in a bowl game and we lose, I'd had a heart attack. You know, I mean, I would have never thought that. But again, there's some things that turnovers and a couple things in the kicking game. So that's a long answer to the question, but that's the truth. Yes?
Jerry, on the wide receivers, can you give us an overview of what the wide receivers are looking like?
Well, it's hard because I'm not out there, you know, and through spring. What we have to do, in my opinion, we've rep a ton of guys, all right? We've got to take that group and we got to close it down early in camp, and we got to develop timing with the quarterback and the receivers. And, you know, I know that according to Mitch, that Wolotorski is leaned up, lost weight, and is back where he needs to be, and he needs to stay healthy. KJ May had even a better year. As we go back through film, KJ May had a pretty good year last year, and he has stepped up his game, so we need him to continue to grow in that. And, of course, then we've got, you know, we need Duke Onaway healthy. You know, Brandon Lingen at tight end healthy. You know, we got some tight ends still in there, but if you go down the group of the guys, Melvin Holland, according to Mitch, has had a great summer, just going on what Mitch and KJ say. Desmond Gant is an unbelievable talent. He's got to continue to work on his hands. Okay, Isaiah Gentry is a special athlete. Coach is going to push him to camp, push him in camp a little bit. You got to work a little harder, but we got to push him because he can do some things for us. And then we got two or three rookies coming in that, you know, there's a kid from California that's walked on. His last name is Marin, and he's been impressive to those guys. That he's really comes out of that high-powered program. So he's a guy. And then let's see here. And then still the last, you know, our last round draft pick there in the draft from Texas. Now he's a live wire now. He lacks no confidence, and they say that he's had a heck of a deal. He'll go up and get a ball, and he talks a little bit, and so, you know, the freshman group, there's some athletes in that, but again, they're freshmen. We'll see how they handle when you start with a deal. But there's a good group of those have been doing some things, and Strebler's been playing a little bit wide receiver. So, see what happens.
Williams, would they use like Cobb, or is it too early to tell?
I think it's too early to tell, but I think that you know, we'll play probably three backs early, and with those three backs early, we'll take the one that gives us the most. One may be a third down back, you know, but Roderick had a great spring. I mean, when we played him in the spring game, he just went touchdown. Then we pulled him, and but he's leaned up, and he's lost about 12, 13 pounds, and he's a tough guy. And we got to remember, he had a big run against Nebraska. Had a big run in bowl game. He could play. He just happened to be behind David Cobb, and so And then we got some good-looking freshmen coming in, but Berkeley's up to 200 pounds. You know, he's not a peanut anymore. He's not a $175 guy. So I'm anxious to see how those guys do. But, you know, we need some explosion plays on offense. We need some guys that, you know, we throw it and they go the distance. We need some explosive plays. So, but hopefully we'll get those.
Jerry, you mentioned Streveler is the second fastest. You got a fastest guy?
Oh, Jay, and I shouldn't say he's the second fastest guy. He's in the top 5. Okay, the fastest guy on our team is Jalen Myrick. I mean, he can flat run. He can go. I mean, I think they've been running 23 miles an hour or something like that. He can run. He can really run. So can, you know, Berkeley can really run. But that part of it, we've increased our speed a little bit. Now, we ain't got anybody running 10-1 like TCU's wide receiver. But anyway, we've
What about that TCU quarterback?
good player. Going to be up for the Heisman, I understand. Be a top guy running for the Heisman.
What's your thought about the quarterback picture when you talk about Chris taking some snaps at wide receiver?
I don't know. I didn't say he's taking any snaps. I said they've been playing. He's been out with Mitch, throwing the ball around. We may practice him a little bit there to see what he does, but that doesn't mean we're going to play him wide receiver. I just want to make that clear. Don't put a sad face on it. I'm just being honest with you. I mean, I'm not just going to go out there in the first day. He's not going to be standing out there. I'm just, you know, but I'm just saying, could he be used at that? Yeah, he could be, but I haven't seen him. I'm just going on what I've been told. And I told him to, you know, he's a good athlete, and I said, while you're working, do some things at receiver, you know, so we'll see.
Is this your best secondary?
Yeah. Yep, it is. Yep. It's a tremendously mature group. Well, the good thing about that, I challenged our wide receivers. I said, hey, these guys are defensive backs now. I said, Brian Body's got those guys out there, and Eric Murray, and they're in there every day, man. It's a tight group. They're filming it, they're working it. And I told KJ, I said, hey, you guys are getting your butt kicked. And wide receivers got to be that way. You got to get out of the gate there, and you got to hold those guys accountable. I said, I don't think you can do it. And I said, I just don't think you guys got it. Boy, so that makes them mad, right? So all of a sudden they're gathering their little group. And so it's been a challenge. It'll be interesting when we go one-on-ones. There'll be a lot of talking and having fun, but you know, so it's good competition. But we got to stay healthy in the secondary. But I think 3 of the 4 get drafted. I don't know which 3 of the 4, but those corners will.
Recruiting, was that a few years ago? Was that something when you guys sat down and looked at the long-term plan? Was that one of the groups that you really focused on that was going to be able to make that turn into just a fully solid unit by year 5?
We focused everything on defense when I got the job, because Minnesota, my understanding, struggled on defense. And we won on defense everywhere we've been, and then we moved the offense along. But we recruited on defense for a purpose. And so we feel like we built a pretty good defense. And now I think offensively, you know, I mean, we're moving forward. And our guys we recruited in the secondary, my goodness, I mean, you talk about athletic out there in the mornings. I mean, you're talking about a guy that let me think here a minute. I'm trying to lost my. Craig James was a great hurdler in the state of Illinois, but the guy that beat him was Antonio Chenault in the state. So I mean, Antonio's a tremendous athlete. So we've recruited good in the secondary too. You know, the kid from Webb City, Missouri, is a kid that, I mean, he's fast. He's really fast too. So, you know, we've got some guys back there that I feel good about, and in the future, and recruiting is going good in the future in that deal too. So, feel good about that. The other thing I haven't mentioned is Jeff Jones. Nobody asked me that question, but I figured I was going to get it. But you know, Jeff will be starting out at wide receiver, and and he can also do things in the backfield if needed. But he's talented enough to do both, but we'll see how all that goes. We'll see where all that happens. He's done good in the class. Now we got to see what his work habits are going to be.
Jerry, some awfully nice things have been said and written about you in this program so far. How do you approach or manage expectations as this program goes along like this?
I don't know if anybody said nice to me. They must have problems, because I'm not known being nice. But no, I appreciate that. You know what? The expectations of the program and everything like that, and you know, I'm not one that. To me, we've gotten better every year, and everybody goes, "What do you want to do this year?" We want to be better. We've been. You don't think about it, but I believe, unless I've been corrected wrong, is that 2 years in a row we've been one game away from being in the Big Ten championship game. Is that correct? You know, nobody really talks about that. One game, and it's Wisconsin. They've been a pain in our butt. And had our opportunities last year. Got to win the border games if you're going to be a Big Ten champion. You're going to play in that game. You got to win the border games. So our expectations, we got to get another brick, and that's the brick. You know, we got to get that done, and then the facility. So making no bones about it. I mean, you know, we're still walking recruits in the hallway and still doing a pretty good job recruiting. We get a new facility out there, we'll really be able to recruit. That makes sense? That's a big brick. That's a big brick. You know, we walk them from the hallway right into our indoor facility that it rains in front of, and you know, that's impressive. But we've still been able to recruit. You know why? Because hey, you got what you got. You can't cry about it. I don't give our coaches any excuses. We lose one to somebody over facility. I said, well, I guess you didn't build enough of a relationship with him. You know. I said, how can we lose that guy? We've been longest coaching staff in the country. We're not going to be moving everywhere, so, you know, if they come here, they'll see the same damn coach for a while. So, and then on the borders, they all want jobs because, you know, Iowa, you know, drives me crazy, Wisconsin, and I'm walking around the deal, and they got a Wisconsin shirt on here in the Twin Cities. Just makes me mad, I tell you. I told them that, too. I told somebody I had a Nebraska shirt on. I was walking the river the other night, and he had that Nebraska shirt on. I go, hey, what's that? And the kid's in a wheelchair. I go, what's that? Nebraska. I said, you know who I am? Yeah, I think so. I said, well, who am I? He said, Coach Kill. I said, I'm from the University of Minnesota. You got that Nebraska thing on. He goes, Coach, I like you. And I said, well, you need to come by and get a shirt. But I said, I'll take a picture with you. So I took a picture with him, liked the kid and everything. But anyway, there ought to be a band. The governor's always banning. We need to ban any other shirts but the University of Minnesota and the Vikings. That's it. Get the Pack. I got the secretary likes the Packers. We're in Minnesota, aren't we? Right? All right. I go off that soapbox.
Define a successful season. Is there something that you need to have, or is it the Rose Bowl, or how?
Just be better. Just be better than we were last year. And if we're better than we were last year, I guess we'd be in the Big Ten championship game. You know, that's what we need to do, one brick at a time. But if we're going to be better, then we're going to have to get there. And we'll do it the hard way now. You know, the commissioner's talking about the scheduling here on out. It needs to be tougher. You know, Big Ten, I don't know if you've been following that. Well, we already got the lead on that. We're the lead dogs on tough schedule. Because we get through that schedule, we'll have a lot of respect. That schedule, we're going to have to win some close games. That's why the kicker and the punter, all that stuff's important, because you're going to be loaded with close games and injuries. You know, we got to stay healthy. And maybe the toughest game we have is at Colorado State.
With the raised expectations.
One of them, yeah.
With the raised expectations and respect this program has, how are you going to keep your kids hungry that they don't start believing they're no longer the underdogs?
Well, I think it's going to media day, all that stuff, you know, is that, we went in there and Jim Harbaugh, you know, he's Michigan, they're going to win it all. And, you know, our kids see that, and, you know, Ohio State, and they we're not in the, you know, so they come back, they talk to our teammates. I've got a nice deal standing down in my locker room that I shared with somebody that said something about us, you know. And, you know, we've had somebody say that we'll never have the players that the University of Nebraska has. Isn't that kind of what it was? Till the end of time. That we'll never have the players. And that's from one of the guys in Big Ten. So I don't think we'll ever get overconfident.
That game with Wisconsin last year, because the way it played out, winner go to the Big Ten championship game, the atmosphere, everything that was there, they celebrated after. What did that do for your team in terms of seeing it up close, how close they were?
Well, I think it did a lot, and I think they're getting tired of it. I mean, you know, and everybody in our state's getting tired of it. I get the number one question I get in the state when I go out and talk is, "We got 3 trophies, but where's the axe?" It's not, "Hey, coach, I'm happy to have 3 trophies." It's, "Where's the axe? Where's the axe?" So we got to get that done. You know, sooner or later, I always keep saying, sooner or later, it's got to happen. I'd like it to be sooner.
Time for a couple more?
Coach, you talked about Berkeley and Roderick, but what if people don't know too much about Rodney Smith yet? I mean, what can he bring to the table?
Rodney's a good football player. Rodney can block. He's physical. He doesn't make mental errors. He's got a lot of this in him. You know, he's going to be an exciting player. Good special teams player. I really like him. I always have. It's just nobody ever talks about him. I think we got 2 good backs from Georgia, him and the Brooks kid. I mean, the Brooks kid, boy, he looks good. He'll look good in his uniform, I can tell you that. So, and we just got Femi Cole here. He's a Canadian. He just arrived here Sunday, and he's come in. So that puts those kids from Canada. Same basketball, you know, they get here late, and that's hard, you know, for those kids, but athletically gifted.
Is Rodney's ascension kind of in practice? Because does that help? I mean, Jeff Jones moved to receiver a little more.
Well, I think that we, you know, with Jeff, is that we still got to understand he's a freshman, you know, and he's still learning, you know. But with that being said, you know, if we get in trouble, we know what we can do. And that's why we did what we did in the spring, you know. But I think with where we're at, the most important thing we do, I guess put it this way, is we better get the best 11 players on the damn field, whoever they are, you know, or the best 14 or 15. You know, we got to get the best players on the field. That's the biggest test we got to try to get ready in a 3-week period of time or 4-week period of time to get ready for TCU. But our season is more than TCU. We're preparing for the whole season. But we got to get our best players on the field. And if one of them is a tight end that can go play defensive end like Galen did, then we got to get the best players on the field. And I think we've made a few mistakes along the way because we had to make some quick decisions. So we got to do a better job. And I just got out of a staff meeting this morning about that.
Jerry, this is kind of a fun one, but you guys have the Leidners and the Ekbays, Connor and Alex Mays, and the Huffs. What's it like having that many pairs of brothers on your team, and what does it say that a lot of those cases you got the first kid in and the second guy actually, the younger brother wanted to come join?
Well, I think that tells me the older brother, you know, felt good about what's happening here. You know, and our best recruiters right now are our players. I mean, I can't talk about it, but you all read about it. Is our best recruiters are our players. You know, you get somebody out of state and they come up, and then you get somebody. I mean, it's just our players are best. Galen Elmore, shoot, he's a great recruiter. I mean, when they come on campus, Galen Elmore just does a heck of a job with them. He might be our top recruiter. Glasscock may be in trouble. But our players are our best recruiters because they're going to tell it like it is. A coach is going to stretch it. You sit down with a player and they're sitting around talking and they're recruiting, they'll say, hey, you know, well, tell me about Coach Kill. And well, he's a dandy now, but he's going to shoot you straight. And you do what what he tells you to do, and he'll die for you. If you work hard and you do what you're supposed to do, he'll die for you. If you want to goof around, not do what he's supposed to do, that's not a good thing. So if you're going to come to school here, you better know how to work. So they're honest with them. And that's good, because we don't want somebody who don't want to come in. That's where our culture's gotten, we can have a guy on a visit in the secondary, and Eric Murray, and go, nope, not going to fit in. And Eric Murray's become a very good leader. You never hear him say anything. When he says something, everybody listens. I mean, he got after some guys this summer. And that's why I think it's different. I mean, those seniors want to win, and you're only as good as your seniors. And when we've had young people not working, they have been in their tail end. And we haven't had that, And those freshmen, they don't care. Like I said, we have no more freshmen. Just like Duke said, I learned that from Coach K. I listened to him in press conferences. I watch basketball and things like that. He said, we don't talk about them being freshmen. They're one and done, but they can't talk to him about them. The more you talk to him about freshmen, that's the more they play like freshmen. So, they're guys that, they got to be ready to play, and they got to be able to take a tail end chewing from their players. And a couple of things you might be interested in is today, as far as we got some speakers coming in to talk to our kids about different things. We're fortunate, Bart Scott, who played for me, is going to be in here talking to our players. But probably the most interesting, and I don't know the exact date, is Buzz. I got a basketball coach coming in, and Buzz Williams is going to come in, and I'm excited about that. And I've gotten to know Buzz. He's been a great help for me, and you know what? I hadn't ever met him when I had a situation. He just reached out to me. He was sending me books. He was sending me, calendars. He was sending me everything. So my wife and I are in Louisville last year in a national championship game, and I get a call from Buzz Williams, say, "Hey, Coach, we're playing Louisville." And he said, I'm down in my room. I just want to meet you. So he comes down. We meet. He comes in the room, and here we go. And he's asked me all kinds of questions about football, how we game plan, how we work, how we do things. And then we just we're a lot alike in a lot of ways. And so I said, this would be a good guy to come in here and talk to us. I'm excited about having him come in, and we got a couple former players, but I thought you'd be interested in that. And I'll let you know as it gets closer when he comes in. He'll be good.
Take one more,
With Smith, what did you see in him in high school, and were you surprised that even more schools weren't after him?
Well, that's kind of been the way most of our situations have gone, but Brian Anderson recruits down there, and we've actually got 2 coaches now recruiting in Georgia. His dad was an athletic director, so we knew he was come from a disciplined home, and then he's a heck of a football player. And we watch film, we evaluate just like guys in the NFL do, and he passed we see him in spring, all that stuff. We got live evaluations, and liked what we've seen, and felt he was a Big Ten back. So we're doing the same right now. I'm in here this morning, and we're preparing for the season, but I had to look at a couple of players because recruiting right now is as busy as it ever is. It's crazy. Keeps moving up. Any other questions or anything?
You talked about the continuity of your coaching staff being something that will help you in recruiting. Would you be shocked if any of your staff left?
Well, you never know. We've had guys offered head coaching jobs. I got 2 ex-head coaches on my staff. I think that most of them look at what I do, and most of them don't want to be a head coach. They like coaching. And so there's a difference between the head coach and the assistant coach. So when I pass away or whatever and I got a second life, I'm being a position coach. And I'm going to enjoy it. But because the head coach has to answer all the problems. But to answer your question, but it's just like anything. I'm like everybody. I got a list here, list there of what I'd do if that happens. So But and if we can get somebody to better their situation, better their life, fire to them. You know, Coach Miller left, went to Florida State, and he paid a whole lot more money, and we're paying him here. So what are you going to say? Plus, he's coached at every place in Florida, and he's got that'll help him in his retirement fund. Anything else?
I was wondering, you talked about Streffler and him working out a little bit at receiver.
Yeah.
How is Demery Croft looking? Have you heard this summer?
You know, our guys say he's really done well, and you know, he's a guy that play receiver, but we're not doing that. I think he could be, you know, he's smooth. He's doesn't say a whole lot. You know, he doesn't get excited a whole lot. I said, "Gee, sounds like Teddy Bridgewater. I hope he's that good." You know, but he's just, you know, he's tall and he's very athletic. I know Coach Clay's like to have him over on defense, so anytime he says that, that means he's a pretty good athlete. I informed Coach Clays that will not happen. So, but anything else? Sid, you got any questions?
I thought you were done, sir.
Oh, all right. That's the last question. If you don't have anything, we're in good shape.